risk of waterborne diseases. And Queen Bird Authority paying 250 million kwacha in compensation to households displaced by Salima Sugar Company expansion in Salima. Now the news in detail. The World Food Programme has warned the hunger situation in the country may reach unprecedented levels due to inadequate funding as donors find it hard to raise funds. WFP Malawi representative Simon Dene says the organization has collected only 20% of 701 billion kwacha needed to feed 27 million people facing hunger in Southern Africa, 5.7 million of which are Malawians. Meanwhile, governance expert Victor Chipofya has warned authorities against mismanagement of public resources, which can ably be used to feed the hunger-stricken. This report by Weston Kuda.
The World Food Programme WFP says it has collected only 20% of funds needed to assist several countries, including Malawi, Zimbabwe and Zambia, that were affected by El Niño-induced drought. Its country representative Simon Denere says traditional donors have decided to cut budgets due to challenges in their countries, global economic challenges, and the wars in Israel and Ukraine. Denere adds that as almost 6 million Malawians face hunger between October 2024 to March 2025, its lacking may lead to many people suffering. Governance expert Victor Chipofya says this is a sad development and has since advised authorities to wake up and put in place measures that can help government feed its people and solve its challenges without external assistance.
This should be a wake-up call to Africa, because we cannot be donor dependent forever. There needs to be a cut-off point where African countries need to be independent, knowing that the people that support us would also face challenges at one point or another. And the biggest challenge that has been there is that in spite of all the donations that have been given to African countries, most of these donations, all they have done is to enrich the presidents and the leaders in these African countries and not necessarily help the poor that they're supposed to help.
In March this year, a state of disaster was declared in 23 districts of the country where 2 million farming households were said to be affected by the hunger. I'm Weston Guta in Lilongwe.
The three-day Malawi Congress Party elective convention in Lilongwe has ended on Friday, with delegates electing new party executive committee. The convention also endorsed Party President Lazarus Chakwera as the party's torchbearer in next year's general elections. Speaking at the convention's closing ceremony, President Chakwera urged those who have won to serve the interests of the people who have entrusted them with the positions and avoid laziness and being greedy. Kasim Haubi has more.
The delegates have done a number of things, ushering in new executive committee, as well as making some resolutions. Among key resolutions may be that the delegates have agreed to endorse Dr. Lazarus Chakwera as the party's torchbearer for next year's general elections, and the party has agreed to ensure that moving forward, all officials of the party are working in line with the policies and the guidelines of the party. The delegates, apart from electing key office holders such as the Secretary General, the Treasurer General, the Director of Legal Affairs, the delegates have agreed to allow President Chakwera, the National Executive Committee, as well as regional chairpersons to elect leaders of other positions that the delegates failed to elect during the elections, because they are saying that there are some areas that they need to consider as a party, issues of gender, issues of regional representations. So because of those reasons, they have agreed to allow President Chakwera and the other senior leaders of the party to elect office holders of some of the positions that the delegates did not elect. In terms of what the president said during his closing remarks, he just urged those that have been elected to make sure that they they commit themselves to party work and they make sure that they don't bring divisions and they should hit the ground now. He said that the preparations for next year's polls should start as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the Malawi Congress Party says it believes the party's just ended convention has made it stronger than before. Among others, the 3-day convention, which ended Saturday, ushered in a new executive committee and endorsed President Lazarus Chakwera as the party's torchbearer in next year's general elections. Kezim Sukwa is chairperson of the convention steering committee.
We had one of the best conventions ever. We've seen that even after the elections, people who contested and lost have been able to find their way back to the convention hall. This is a sign that no hard feelings, they feel the delegates have done their work normally. And this is very, very rare in a democracy of today, where some people have spent, to campaign, going from one area to the other. At the end, you find that the delegates say, no, you're not the rightful candidate. But then, the most important thing that we have also noticed that even after losing the elections, those of us that lost have still been able to find their place in this hall. A very great feat, and we are thankful. And this was also largely because of the President's encouragement, so that everybody should be able to rate others to be able to work with them.
As the first phase of the Digital Malawi project is getting to an end this October, authorities have announced a $150 million new Malawi Digital Acceleration Program for 3 years with funding from the World Bank. Project manager Chimo Matemba told journalists in Blantyre that $70 million will be used for 2 years, while $80 million will be pumped in the third year to promote high-speed internet connectivity in Malawi. He added that it is encouraging that many public facilities, including hospitals, schools and markets, now have the free Wi-Fi, thereby scaling up development. Secretary for Ministry of Information and Digitization, Bodwin Chiamwaka, has since asked all civil servants to migrate from personal to government emails for proper safety of government information. Chiamwaka explains.
Can't be left behind as a country in terms of digitalization. And like I said earlier, it is at the heart of our President, His Excellency, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, and the government of Malawi to ensure that Malawi 2063, enabler number 6, where we are talking about infrastructure, ICT, we accelerate its achievement and its attainment. So it's very exciting that we have partners who are helping us, to attain this. And just to talk about the successor program, the Malawi Digital Acceleration Program, it's the next program that's coming. As the first one, the National Digital Program is phasing out. We also used to call it the Digital Foundation Project. So this one is phasing out in October. It was supposed to phase out in June, but July, September, and October, this is what we call a no-cost extension because there are a few other things that were not completed. For example, the National Data Center in Lilongwe.
Experts in the construction industry have agreed to foster mindset change and fight corruption to ensure that they deliver quality and resilience infrastructure in Malawi. In a communique issued at the end of the 7th International Construction Conference in Mangochi, members agreed that everyone has a role to play for the country to have quality and resilience infrastructure, but should start with mindset change and saying no to corruption. African Regional Manager for Infrastructure Transparency Initiative, Olive Kabatwaire, said she is convinced with the passion the National Construction Industry Council of Malawi has for the development of the industry. Rafael Mlozo filed this report.
Following 3-day discussions during the 7th International Construction Conference in Mangochi on Friday, Golos in the construction industry agreed on several points that they have to work on to improve service delivery. Members emphasized on delivering quality and a resilient infrastructure as all what people expect, mindset change and avoiding corruption. National Construction Industry Council of Malawi NCIC Chief Executive Officer Engineer Gerard Konje said they will make sure that what they have discussed should not end at the meeting.
As Malawians, we can develop this country. We can transform the way we do infrastructure. To develop regulations and standards that can be enforced, including the standards that we already developed last year. The resolution is, can we give it the force of the law? The other resolution is continuous engagement with financial institutions.
African Regional Manager for Infrastructure Transparency Initiative, Olive Kawatawire, is optimistic the meeting will change things in the construction industry in Malawi.
Being here has been a turning point for me. I want to first thank the President of Malawi, who is the coast champion, and we want to send our condolences to the people of Malawi following the passing of the previous champion of coast. We grieve with you, but also thank you for the efforts you're putting in to champion transparency, accountability, and participation in the infrastructure sector.
The 3-day conference was held under the theme Innovate, Adapt, and Excel, a quality-driven construction industry, and has attracted participants from other countries like Zambia, Tanzania, and the United Kingdom. For ZBS, this is Rafael Mlozowa reporting.
Welcome back. The headlines as we proceed with the news this morning. World Food Programme warns a hunger situation. Poor funding. MCP leadership says it believes the party's just ended convention has made it stronger than before. Wisdom says water challenges putting people in areas around Kotakota Wildlife Reserve at risk of waterborne diseases. And Green Bird Authority paying 250 million kwacha in compensation to households displaced by Salima Sugar Company expansion in Salima. Moving on with the news, the wildlife and environmental side of Malawi Wisdom says water challenges continue to haunt people in areas around Kotakota Wildlife Reserve in Kotakota District, a situation which puts them at the risk of waterborne diseases. Wisdom Duangwa Branch Manager Yasin Rashid Malandula says construction of a wire fence around the reserve left the people who were depending on water sources inside the reserve without access to clean water. The organization, with support from Bridge IT Water Foundation of Australia, has spent about 80 million kwacha to drill boreholes for the communities there. Winston Kaimina has more.
There are challenges on access to clean water in areas surrounding Kotakota Wildlife Reserve, a situation which puts some communities at the risk of waterborne disease outbreaks. This has prompted the Wildlife and Environmental Society of Malawi, WESM, to drill boreholes through a project it is implementing with support from Bridge Water Foundation of Australia. WESM Duangwa Branch Manager Yasin Rashid Malandula says so far 6 boreholes have been drilled and 31 rehabilitated. He was speaking after commissioning some of the boreholes in Chiutula, Kadamanja and Matelezi villages.
The project is having a big impact to the communities surrounding the reserve. You know, these are the marginalized communities, the rural areas. You have seen where we went to Kadamanja, Zumani area. Here at Matelezi, this is a very remote area, and the communities here could not even think that one day they could be able to drink water from the borehole.
Peter Fabe, who is a partner of the Bridge Water Foundation, says he's impressed with the progress that has been made.
I've been very, very impressed with the work that WESM is doing, the work that the communities themselves are doing, getting together to maintain the wells. I think it's an excellent project and everyone's doing very well. My organisation will continue to support projects not just here in Malawi but within Africa.
Meanwhile, Kaipa Banda, who is the Director for Water is Life Solution, a contractor in the project, says the company is supporting tree planting activities in the targeted areas. For Zodiac in Kotakota, this is Winston Kaimira.
The Association of Environmental Journalists has employed the citizenry to rally behind the anti-thin plastics campaign for Malawi to conserve the environment. Its new president, Titus Lindsay, made the appeal after a peaceful march held in Long over the weekend to amplify the call on No to Thin Plastics campaign. Lindsay said government and the judiciary should work in the best interests of the environment, which provides life to the living things, including people. He explains.
We were demonstrating against the production of thin plastics, which take ages to decay in the land. So the issues are in court. So it would be a bit tricky for us to empty because the issue is in court. But the whole essence of our march is to force government, to force the judiciary to make sure that they give no favors to the producers of the plastics. As watchdogs, it's our role. We just have to do that because we have written a lot, but there's nothing which is happening. So we thought it wise to take it in the street and have these peaceful demonstrations. We are hoping and we are sure that the message has hit the right destination.
We also spoke to Julius Ngoma, National Coordinator for Civil Society Network on Climate Change, on the matter.
The Civil Society Network on Climate Change is part of the grouping of all the organizations that have come together to advocate for the elimination of thin plastics in the country. So the issue is that for quite a decade now, we've seen the government, trying to put a ban on thin plastics, but some other institutions that have their own, mindset, companies that manufacture thin plastics have been challenging this in court over and over again. We cannot say much about that, but what we can do today is just to raise awareness to the general public on the dangers of thin plastics. So this march today, we're trying to raise that awareness to the general public so that they understand that the thin plastics takes years to degrade. They actually cause damage to the environment. They can block our drainages and cause flooding unnecessarily in the cities. They are an eyesore, and they are also a source of loss of life to human beings, to domesticated animals, including fish in the lakes and rivers. So everyone else needs to be aware about this. Even the thin plastics manufacturers, they know about this information, but we just wanted to project that and also let everyone know that we're not happy with the treatment of the manufacturers companies.
Balaka Youth and an organization called We Create Art has donated a 10 million kwacha nursery school to Musa Village under Sub-Traditional Authority in Nyanyala. Mary Ruhanga, programs manager there, says the councillor Michael Chauluka of the area approached them for assistance, and she asked her friends who responded positively. Councillor Michael Chauluka of Mulunguzi Ward says the community also did a commendable job to show how important the project is to them. The Malawi Law Society has entered into partnerships with the two prominent bodies, Financial Intelligence Authority and MISA Malawi, in order to curb financial crimes and promote media freedom in Malawi. Malawi Law Society Vice President Tusume Mwangulu told journalists that they expect the agreements to promote matters of the public and safeguard democracy. As Christopher Sunday reports, MISA Malawi chairperson Gordon Matonga says his organization will seriously engage Malawi Law Society to deal with laws that are choking the operations of the journalists in Malawi.
Malawi Law Society Vice President Tusume Mwangulu says the Financial Intelligence Authority, FIA, and MISA Malawi are some of the important bodies in Malawi. Mwangulu says more needs to be done to ensure that there is no place for dirty money in the country, while on the other part safeguarding media freedom by ensuring that journalists are operating in a conducive environment. On her part, FIA Director General Dr. Jeannie Filippo Priminta hopes lawyers will be able to report any suspicious financial activities in order to deal with money laundering. MISA Malawi chairperson Gordon Matonga says his organization will seriously engage Malawi Law Society to deal with laws that are choking the operations of journalists in the country. Matonga cited some provisions of the Electronic Transactions and Cybersecurity Act, which authorities are now using to arrest citizens.
So attacks on journalists online is a concern to all of us. We have seen media houses being hacked. We have seen journalists being insulted online, and it's something which we do take seriously. This MOU will help us to look at ways how to ensure that we review the cyber laws in the country if there is a need for review, This MOU will help us to ensure that we provide litigation if journalists have been harassed and there is a need for litigation.
Reporting for Zodiac, this is Christopher Sunday.
The Green Belt Authority is paying land compensation to 438 households in Salima district, totaling nearly 250 million kwacha in the first phase of relocation to allow for the expansion of Salima Sugar Company Limited's plantation. Speaking with Zodiac Online, GBA Director of Irrigation Operations, Dr. Chisomo Kumbuyo, stated that the expansion will result in an increase of 18,000 tons of sugarcane production from the current levels.
4,000 hectares were allocated to the co-grower Salima Sugar Company Limited. But as the company was being established, there were some people that had already settled on the estate because the estate had stayed idle for some time. So this relocation exercise will allow Salima Sugar to access some of the productive land which was settled by these project-affected persons. The reallocation of these project-affected persons will avail to the company about 438 hectares, of which immediately the company has already made plans to develop about 100 hectares. And if we are to go about the average production that we have seen this season, we are anticipating an increase of about 18,000 tons of sugarcane to be produced, which during the production of that cane, there will be a lot of job opportunities that will open up to the people of this catchment area. The first phase that we are starting today, all things being equal, we anticipate this exercise to complete today. But the second phase, we are anticipating to undertake it 2 weeks from today.
Company Secretary for Salima Sugar Company Limited, Dr. Charles Tupi, says the company already constructed a health center and paved roads at the new land of relocation.
Salima Sugar is one of the biggest employers in Malawi. Most of the people that you have seen here are employed by Salima Sugar. And where they are going, we have tried to drill boreholes. We are also we have also done roads, and we are planning that we should also maybe provide the health and medical services, and also maybe schools within the area. So these are also the people that are working for us, and it's our plan that we should make sure that the people are well taken care of and they are not facing any problem. Okay, in terms of sugar production, the main issue that is required is land, one for cultivation. So, as you know, Salima Sugar is buying sugarcane from outgrowers. Now, the outgrowers, we told them that in terms of requirements, we need about 70,000 metric tons of sugarcane. But currently, they are only able to provide 50,000 metric tons. And that gap, we need to close it. So, for us to close, we need to cultivate more in terms of sugar.
The Senior Chief Kombeza of Salima District has since thanked GBA for providing free land for resettlement of the displaced households and advised the beneficiaries to spend the money wisely. And that's what we had time for in this edition of news. And before we leave you, a reminder of the top stories. World Food Program warns